So you're probably wondering how to get into sales, or you're wondering what is the best role to start in sales. I would highly recommend a SDR position. What is an SDR? SDR stands for Sales Development Representative. You also could call it a BDR, which is a Business Development Representative, or in like the high ticket space, it's called an appointment setter. So what does an SDR do? You're probably asking me, right? So it's very simple actually. So an SDR develops sales opportunities or business opportunities. Your sole purpose in the function of a company and an organization is to talk with ideal customer profiles, your avatar, right? Who you want to conduct business with. You talk to them, whether it's on the phone, whether it's via email, via LinkedIn, or in person, and you understand their needs, and then you essentially get them to dedicate 15 to 45 minutes on the calendar. That's it. So essentially what you're doing is you're sparking conversations. You're having a conversation with another human being. You're understanding that if their problems are the problems that your company's product or service solves, then there's gonna be a good fit for you guys to be able to conduct business. And you just have to get them interested enough to dedicate time for a meeting, and that's it. That's where the buck stops. That's all you have to do. So all you have to do is have communication skills, you have to be a good listener, and you have to problem solve and understand things on the fly, and just have interpersonal skills in general. If you think that you're good at talking with people, this might be a really good opportunity for you to make a lot of money with not a lot of experience. So it's a very junior role. It's literally the bottom of the sales totem pole, but I think it's the most valuable skill set or job that I've ever had, and I can attribute 100% of my success, business and personal, to becoming an SDR early in my sales career. What is an overview of the position? So like I said, number one responsibility is just connecting with leads. You're gonna be able to do that through the phone, through email, through the written word, or actually in person if you're doing door knocking. So that's your first biggest part of the responsibility, is just connecting with other people. Number two is gonna be education and qualification. So once you have a conversation, right, it doesn't mean that you should just put everyone on the calendar just because that's your job. You have to make sure that the person that you're talking to knows what it is that you're selling, your product or your service, and you have to qualify them, right? As they qualify you, you have to qualify the prospect if they're actually a good fit for your product or service. You don't want to waste your time. You don't want to waste the prospect's time, and you sure don't want to waste your manager's time or the person that's above you that closes the deal's time. So you want to make sure that you actually, when you're having these conversations, it has an intention to educate and to qualify that prospect. What is prospecting, you're probably asking? So prospecting is the art of finding the right person on the channels that they use most. A couple of new prospecting tips and tricks that you can use is go and find an influencer or someone who's an authority in the space that you're selling to. So if you're selling into, let's say, real estate, maybe you want to look into Grant Cardone. He talks about real estate. Real estate people, agents, brokers listen to Grant's content, so you can make a good educated guess that the people who are commenting on Grant's stuff, who follow Grant, who engage with Grant's content across all of his channels, may be a good prospect for you. So you can go to the watering hole that Grant has created that has real estate individuals drinking from it, and then go poach people at that watering hole. He does the hard work of bringing the qualified prospects in your avatar and your niche to one specific area, which would be, say, LinkedIn or YouTube or Twitter. And then you go and you find the people there. Instead of doing all the hard work of having people organically come to you, just take the fast route, right? And piggyback off of other people's hard work. And then you could prospect them essentially. The next skill here is gonna be listening. No one likes talking to somebody when you can just kind of tell that they're waiting for their time to speak. You probably know this type of person. When you're talking, they're like, yep. And in their head, they're probably like, when is this person gonna stop talking so I can talk about me? You know, that's probably not your best friend, right? Maybe it's someone that you know, or someone brought to a social event, but you can pick up on that, and people pick up on that if you're doing that same thing to them. In sales, it's very easy for us to get caught up. It's what we talk about, it's what we eat, it's what we breathe, right? This product, this service, your company, your career. Make sure that you're not doing that. actually listen to that person, and you're gonna stand out from like 95% of salespeople. Like if someone says something, remember it, right? Write it down. Make a note of it. Actually use the things that they tell you in that conversation, right? Literally think of it as you're on a date, right? If a girl is talking to or a boy is talking about something, like you want to remember that. Oh, that's your hobby. That's your interest. These people just aren't like business robots, right? They're people. So treat them like people. Listening is going to be your biggest strong suit in your ability to book more meetings is if you listen correctly to the prospect and then use that information to provide a solution. The next biggest thing is going to be time management. As an SDR, you have to do a lot of different things, but you have to make sure that you're doing all those things consistently on a day-to-day basis. This is what your day should look like as an SDR. Beginning of your day, you should be doing prospecting and tasks. You're gonna wanna go through all your tasks and see what you actually have on the docket today that you've told yourself, right? Maybe it's someone from a month ago, right? Before the new year saying, hey, reach out to me the first week of January. Boom, I created a task. That should be on my radar for today. After that, you're gonna go into the tasks, you're gonna go into your lead lists, you're gonna start making calls first thing in the morning once you had your coffee, once you sat down, you're settled in. Why are you gonna do that, right? That's when people are the least busy. So you wanna call people when they're more available to pick up the phone. So that's gonna be on their way to work, as soon as they're settling into their day. You wanna make sure that you're capitalizing on their time of not working. You don't wanna call someone at 2:30 in the afternoon. Think about it. When are people in meetings? When are people most busy? It's that middle part of the day, right? So you wanna call in the beginning of the day and the end of the day. But that doesn't mean that you just take a nap from 1 to 4 o'clock. Like there's still valuable time in that day. 1 to 4 o'clock, you should be sending emails, you should be posting on LinkedIn or commenting or liking your prospects' content. You should be doing extra prospecting and responding to emails and things like that. Written stuff should be done in the middle of the day. Your calls should be on the beginning and the end of the day. So once you have your time and your time management blocked out, you know exactly that you have to talk with leads, you have to educate, you have to qualify those leads. When you're talking to people, you're listening correctly. The two other biggest things is going to be your communication skills as well as the overall knowledge of the product or service that you're selling. So how do you do this? You have to study it. When you start off with a new sales company, listen to calls, if they have it, of demos that have closed, of other cold calls that have booked meetings. Listen to how other people are having success, right? There's no reason to recreate the wheel. Understand what's working and study it. Right? Study it. Watch everything that you possibly can. The next best thing is going to be practice. Practice your script. Practice your intro. Practice your hook. Practice your pain points. Practice the questions that you're asking. Practice asking for a meeting. And when I say practice, I literally mean practice. Like write something down and say it 50 times into a mirror. Record yourself saying it. Listen to your tonality. Listen to your energy in your delivery of what you're saying. Send out emails, right? Read other emails that have worked. Understand the market. Google biggest pain points for financial advisors. What is keeping real estate brokers up at night? Understand the market and the things that they're actually going for and going through, and then be able to then put your product knowledge to the test. So when you're on the phone with someone and they're saying, oh yeah, actually, a big thing going on right now in real estate is the interest rates. If you don't know what's going on with the interest rates, like you can't have an actual educated conversation with that person, right? But if someone's like, yeah, we probably don't want to move forward, and now, the recession coming up, interest rates are rising, I'd be like, oh great, actually I just read this thing in Forbes yesterday about how the interest rate are actually gonna be dropping in February. Like, they're like, oh, okay, this guy actually knows what he's talking about. So be able to have a conversation, know your market, know your product. So that is really an overview of what an SDR is from the top, too long, didn't read it, right? What you are as an SDR, BDR appointment setter is essentially you're talking with prospects. You are the front lines. You are getting them educated on what you do and qualifying what they do and how it'd be a fit to your product or service. The ways in which you do that is by prospecting, right? Finding people who'd be interested in the first place, reaching out to them, calls, emails, LinkedIn, or in person, knocking on doors. You're gonna be able to listen to the prospect on your calls. You're gonna be able to have high product knowledge. If you do those things consistently, and you have actually time blocks to do so, I guarantee you're not gonna be an SDR for long.